Hello everyone, welcome to this last edition of CIS Roundtable for the 2023-2024 academic year. I'm absolutely delighted to bring to you a fantastically interesting subject today, one of the most popular for all of our students, be it as viewers or as directors or as actors and actresses. I'm talking, of course, about film.
I'm Gordon. I'm currently an IBDB film student.
I'm Alicia. I graduated last year in 2023 and I took film for IB.
I'm Jake. I'm from year 9. Started film in year 8 and film is fire.
Hi, I'm Janine Ward. I've been one of the film teachers at CIS for 9 years now.
My name is Jasmine. I'm a parent. I've got 3 kids.
Hi, I'm Joey. Graduated in 2022. I currently study film and television production at LMU in Los Angeles.
I wanted to start off by just talking about why we as human beings seem to love film so much.
The main point is that it's entertainment. There's lots of different appeals to film, one being escapism, one identification, educational, and also social interactions. I think we generally talk about films or the television quite freely. As technology is advanced, we're getting more options. So Netflix used to be a DVD service. Now we have streaming, so it kind of is a given that it would become more popular.
I think it's easier now than ever to make a movie. We all have cameras in our pockets that are way better than things professionals had, right? Even 20, 30 years ago. With the output being more accessible, it's also easier than ever to make a film.
What is your very first memory of contact with film where you really felt like you were, wow, this was exciting?
First time I was really immersed in a film was, I think, when I was around 9 years old maybe. It was about this father who was trying to raise his son to be a wrestler. He tried 4 times and he couldn't get a son. So instead he began raising his daughters to be wrestlers. And it was this story about how the daughters overcame gender stereotypes, and then eventually they became world champions of wrestling, I believe. And that film, it was really emotional. So in the theaters it really hit me, and that was the moment when I realized wow, film can really induce these emotions in other people.
Yeah, I also remember as a kid I really loved going into the theater or going into the cinema because it's such a group experience, right? You're in there together and you're experiencing all these emotions together, crying together, laughing together.
When I was 8, my parents, they showed me Avatar, and they showed me that movie particularly because my name, Jake, it was the main character of the film, so they named me after that. In film, it's just visually showing it with music, sound effects, and that's just blew my mind and how cool film is.
For me, I remember sneaking out of bed a lot. And my family, I'm youngest of 4, I would creep out of my room a lot and sneak over, look over the back of the sofa. And I guess that was it. The fact that it would entice me out of my bed just to go and see what was going on.
You seem to have all made the transition into making movies in some way or another. What's different about making it as compared to watching it?
When we first really step into the CIS film program, you really look at a film in a way different to the normal entertainment form of perceiving a film, right? Because you look at it through an academic and very theoretical lens. What that really makes you realize is how powerful film is as a medium. With the wealth of resources CIS has, we have amazing cameras, gimbals. Obviously we're in the film production room on a huge green screen. There's 2 sets back there. So there's a wealth of resources, so leveraging that and making it ourselves was probably why I stepped into it.
In year 8, when on Power School, I was like, yo, I finally have film, let's go. But then I realized we have to first do a film review, and I was like, oh no, I haven't done that in my entire life. And then we have to make a shot list, a script, and even draw storyboard.
Every class there's an element of that. The creative process and working with the students is definitely the thing that I enjoy the most. They are the ones who are making the film, helping them shape those ideas, and getting it from here to there is such a process, and we form relationships. It's a completely different working environment to probably any of the other departments in the school, and they're inspiring. The ideas that they come up with, they're inspiring.
I can speak from the point of view of my son, I guess. He's always loved to be a storyteller. When you write a story, you work by yourself. But in film, it's very different. You work as a team, and it's so much more than about making the film itself. It's about working together as a group. It's about leadership. So much things that helps with other aspects of life.
It was being able to kind of translate this visual kind of idea you have into a finished piece, and then throughout the process, be able to run around like Hong Kong with your friends, right, making this movie. I think film's like this combination of all these different things, right? It's not just visual. There's also the writing, and there's like the music, and it's all these things kind of put together to create this really immersive experience, like you were saying before.
What is it that film can bring to you, even if you're not necessarily going to spend your life making film?
It's the whole process, the collaborative process, the team building, the communication skills, the problem solving, the flexibility, being able to communicate with several people. There's just so many skills, transferable skills that are going to be important, whatever they go into, whatever university course they do, whatever profession they go into. These are skills that are going to see them through their life.
From my personal experience, I'm like really emotional when I watch films, and so I think part of it is like the curiosity. Like I always wonder, like, why did this film make me feel like that? And I think going through this film course, you really learn how to analyze and break down every single aspect of film, and that really that gives you a way better understanding of like what you're looking at and like why this induces these emotions. And I think that's really the superpower that like film gives me.
How exactly is the film program at CIS organized for people who don't necessarily know about it?
Okay, so at the very base, we start in year 7. Each year we focus on a different film element. So in year 7, we start with basic storytelling, and we do that through stop motion. And then in year 8, we move on to cinematography, so basically how we can communicate a story through the lens of the camera. And we explore superhero films for that. Year 9, we move on to mise en scène, so how we can make a believable world through setting, props and costumes, etc., etc. Year 10, Hongyo, they follow a very different program. And then in year 11, the focus is on editing and how different ways of editing, the chronology of storytelling can shape the way that an audience interprets things. And then you've got the IPDP program, and we cover a range of units. We look more at national cinemas, so exposing them to kind of more world cinema, and we'll look at different theories and different film movements, so it's much more theoretical.
Just to add on to that, it's such a nice, well-rounded program that I think even if you're considering film school, pursuing this academically or professionally further, I think that benefit continues even then. I feel like obviously the technical baseline, the foundation is really solidly built here, but it's also that theoretical knowledge helps a lot when you're talking about film, and also all that paperwork that we have to do actually ends up being really helpful when you're explaining yourself creatively. So that literacy in all of those different elements really comes into play later on.
If you don't mind sharing some of your highlights from your film journeys at CIS.
I'm currently working on the horror film unit, but before this, we had the sci-fi unit. And I'm not gonna say I'm necessarily a big fan of sci-fi. I'm more on like the action side, but I had like a brilliant idea where I combined like action and like skills we learned from year 8, because we did superhero in year 8, so I combined like lots of training montages and many skills I learned from year 8 into my year 9 sci-fi film. So I think it was pretty entertaining. I'm quite happy with how it turned out.
The production side of things is the highlight, right? It's like being able to actually make the film. And I think after going to film school, it becomes a lot more kind of regimented and bureaucratic almost, right? There's all of these, the process is a lot clearer. And I think it's a shared sentiment of a lot of people that they miss making movies like they did in high school, where, sure, there's rules and there's processes, but at the core of it, there's maybe like 3-4 people with a camera, and you're just running around and kind of letting, like Gordon said, like your creativity kind of flourish.
I think, ironically, like my film highlights have been when I've struggled most. Oftentimes, when our group struggles the most, we usually come up with the best solution. in the end, and that often comes up with the best product. And also sometimes we choose to struggle in order to make a good product. For example, recently we did our Wong Kar Wai unit, and in order to get a good shot, we aligned our filming schedule with the weather forecast, and we when it was raining, when it was like completely pouring, we bought like 4 umbrellas to keep everything dry, like all the camera equipment, and we also had amazing actors and actresses who were willing to act in the rain, and that was a horrible experience, but the result of it was really, really amazing. Although sometimes the process makes you struggle a lot, you feel really amazing and like you're really proud of what you were able to create.
I really like the idea of like the choice to struggle. I so agree, because I feel like film is constantly just setting yourself up for like huge challenges, or even honestly always on the brink of failure. But once you overcome those challenges, it's so gratifying, and we're given so much agency to set the bar for ourselves. And I feel like as CI students, you're always setting the bar higher and higher.
As a parent observing your son, in this case, engaged in film, what are the kinds of things you've appreciated the most about his experience?
I think he's matured a great deal as a person through the process. He has become more independent. He's also able to lead better because you have to do different roles. The teachers do not allow the kids to always stick to one role, so you have to rotate, so you always get different roles. So you learn how to be a leader, you learn how to be a team player, you learn how to work together as a team. It's very important to film on time, and because you've got other people that you have to manage as well.
Do you feel, I guess everyone here, that film like refines or hones your creativity?
With film, right, it has so many elements. It has sound, cinematography, to even the directing of it. Everything's coming to play, and so much of it is about world building a plausible world with honestly zero budget. So a lot of it is about honing your creativity, but also, and more importantly, I think, honing your creative problem solving, because so many things can go awry during shooting.
If you had a film director, living or no longer living, you could speak to and ask a question to, who would it be? What would you ask?
Nick Broomfield. He's British documentary maker, and I love the rawness of his work, the realness, the way that he communicates with the subjects of his documentaries. They're very people-based, very human-based, and that speaks to what I'm really interested in. What would I ask him? Other than, can I do a film with you? Probably how he chooses his subjects, because they're all each of his documentaries is so very, very different in terms of the context. Fantastic.
Noah Baumbach has a really cool body of work. He did Marriage Story, The Squid and the Whale. I think for similar reasons, as Ms. Wood was talking about, they're all really human stories, and they talk about kind of family dynamics, or how people are situated in the world, I guess. So I'd probably ask him something to do with how he conceptualizes these stories, or how he gets these out of the performers.
It'd be Agnes Varda. I really love her work, especially in the French New Wave. One of the first, female pioneers of, the French New Wave and filmmaking there. I wouldn't really ask her a question, but I'd want to sit on set with her for a day and observe how she works and how she interacts with everyone.
I would say Charlie Chaplin. I think I would ask him. Well, I think I would agree with Alicia. I don't think I have a specific question. I just want to sit there and watch him do his thing, because I think he is someone who is talented in all aspects. Like, he knows how to film, he knows how to edit, he knows how to act, and I think also getting to see the difference between filmmaking back then and now is something I'm really curious to.
What's your favorite movie? And why do you love that particular film?
I don't have one. I have different stages of life, and I've liked different films for different reasons based on moments in time.
There's this 6-minute short film by Pixar. It's called Far From the Tree. It played before in Encanto in theaters. It's the closest I've ever come to crying watching a movie.
I've mentioned mine before. It's E.T.
Probably gonna be an Endgame, because as I said before, I was a really, really big Marvel fan. So as a family, we went to the cinema and we were like, oh my lord, this is gonna be the final saga, the final battle. So I was so excited. And then till this day, when I'm bored, I search on YouTube. I'm like, an endgame final battle, because that final battle was just
I really loved We Need to Talk About Kevin. It's a film we watched, I think in year 11 or 12, but in year 12, but this is the film that really made me understand why there's so many film elements and why every single element is so important and why film is such a transformational, I guess, medium.
A film that I've always admired and that I just think it's a really great example of how different parts of film really come together to create like an atmosphere. It would be Interstellar. It's a film that like visually and like the music, the acting, and like just everything really gets you, so you're really immersed into the story, and like you also like because of how like complex the plot is, you're also really like you're thinking about what's happening, what does this mean, like what's gonna happen next. And I think that sort of experience, like film is an experience, and that is, I think, a great example of how like powerful film can be.
Thank you very much, Roundtable participants, for sharing your passion for film so generously with us and for giving us some fantastic movie recommendations, which I know I, for one, will be taking you up on in the summer weeks that lie ahead. To everyone, we are deeply grateful for your listening and viewing, and we wish you the very best summer possible. Please take care.